Well, one thing I can say about these sequels and especially these video game adaptations, they don't hesitate to say in their movie, "Oh, there's gonna be another one. There's gonna be another. You thought we were done with two. There's gonna be a third one. There's gonna be a third one because we can't just end ideas. We have to make a third one." It goes for Super Mario Galaxy and now Mortal Kombat 2. Hello everyone, my name is Jake from Talk Too Much, and today I'm here to talk about Mortal Kombat 2. Now, I was kind of excited for this movie. We were getting more characters involved, and after feeling somewhat decent about the first film, I was kind of looking forward to this, seeing as we were actually in the tournament from what the trailers were showing, and we were getting introduced to some of my favorites and a lot of other people's beloved favorite characters. So I was kind of looking forward to this movie being released. For those of you that don't know, Mortal Kombat, it is a beloved game by millions. I mean, it came out, a lot of people are big fans left and right. I more so grew up with the console version of Mortal Kombat, playing it on the Xbox. I think it was called Mortal Kombat X or XL. And that's kind of what I grew up with, but my dad grew up with Mortal Kombat. And so, obviously, you have the movies from 30 years ago. They're in due for a remake. And so, when you get to the first Mortal Kombat, it starts out with the story of Scorpion and Sub-Zero, why they hate each other. After that was finally told and done, they were like, okay, next one we're going to do, it's going to be the tournament. And they kind of showed that. And so, I was like, okay, maybe we're actually getting to the side of Mortal Kombat that we all know. And we are here now. And boy, oh boy, when I say that this feels like a sequel film where you just know it's a second movie in the trilogy, it wears it on its colors very, very highly. So starting off with the positives, I think that the characters that they introduced into this movie were great. They were way better than the previous characters. So you're following the story of Katana, I believe, and everything that she is going through and her culture and what's all wrong with it. Along with that, you're also following from the Earth realm, you're following Johnny Cage. And of course, when you're going into a movie where you know there's going to be carnage, you know people are going to die, obviously you have to introduce more characters and you have to create them just as captivating as the previous one to keep people interested in the story. And I can say they did that. They did a good job with that. I knew a lot of these characters were going to be eliminated from the previous movies. Some we'll get to in a moment. But I thought the introduction was very, very strong with these characters. I felt like they were setting up a good story in the very beginning of this movie, where I was sitting there in my seat and I was like, oh, are we actually going to get a story and a tournament to go together? This whole movie is not just going to feel like the gameplay of Mortal Kombat. This may actually work for me. And I think they did an excellent job with that. I think the guy who plays Johnny Cage, I know he's from The Boys. I don't know his name properly, and I don't want to mispronounce it. And him, along with the actress that plays Katana, they did a phenomenal job carrying this movie. And yes, I will say carrying this movie. And that's one thing I'll have to get into in a little bit. But if you are looking for two standouts of these movies, and your positives, it's going to be these two characters. Along with that, another positive I have is I think the CGI worked. I don't think it was overdone, and I don't think it was lacking in any way. I felt like every fatality that was being shown, whether it was a head getting slammed or, someone losing their arms, it looked good. It looked convincing, and I wasn't complaining watching it and being like, why isn't that practical? It felt like the gameplay, and I understand making that decision, and I thought it worked. I was not just in my seat complaining, being like, oh my god, this looks so bad. No, the CGI looks how it should look for this kind of movie. And especially with these brutal fatalities and everything that these people are going through when they're fighting each other, it looks really nice. It's nice little eye candy for all the Mortal Kombat fans. Going on to the mixed portion that I have with this movie is there's not a story much other than the first 30 minutes. You kind of get the gist of what this movie is pretty quickly. The world is at its end. You have to have your top 5 fighters go against this other realm, and whoever loses pretty much will decide the fate of the universe. Either Earth will die or the other realm will die. One of these two will be taken over by the other, and that's how the movie kind of sets itself up. With that being said, from a gameplay aspect, looks great. I think with what Mortal Kombat is, it's two people fighting each other to the death. That is what it is. It does a really good job showing that in the movie. However, with that, it felt like they sacrificed the story a lot. And so I think the fighting was good. Wasn't too crazy. Wasn't more so. You could tell some of it was choreographed a little too hard. And then some of it came naturally and it looked really good. But if you're looking for story with this movie, it's not going to work. If you're looking to show your friends saying, hey, if you want to know what it's like to play the game of Mortal Kombat and you don't, for some reason, have the video game, watch this movie. It demonstrates exactly everything that is involved with Mortal Kombat, all these characters, what their moves are, what their fatalities are like. It shows it. And so that's why, again, I'm kind of mixed leaning on this because highlights the gameplay a lot, which is good. However, story-wise, there's not really much there to grab. And now moving on to my negatives. And there were some decisions that irked me so bad at the end of this movie. I will keep it spoiler-free as much as I can because I know one of these negatives is really, really big. And I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen the movie. But they decide to, when they finally get to the certain point of the movie where people have to start dying left and right, the person that they chose to die first, heavily disagreed with. I don't like it at all. I thought it was a cop-out because of the response of the first movie, and I didn't like it. I thought it was one of the worst decisions in the world. I thought with who that character was, made no sense to do the decision that they made and killing them off the way they did. I was so mad about that. Also, along with another, and it's not like I'm going to Mortal Kombat and expecting all these good characters to live. I know some of them are going to die, and you can expect that in this movie. If you really think you're going into Mortal Kombat 2 not expecting any of the good guys to die, then I hate to break that for you. I didn't feel like that would be a spoiler, but you're gonna see some of the good guys die. It's just a matter of who. And so when they were throwing around who died here and there, I didn't like some of the decisions they make. I understand why they had to make those decisions. I do. I was just very disappointed with some of them, and I really thought, oh, you're kind of doing this just to please your audience, and I can tell. I don't agree with your decision, though. It made no sense from a story aspect, and it felt like they were just copping out solely to focus on the gameplay aspect of the movie. That's what I got out of it. Along with that, you only get a little bit of character development, mainly between Johnny Cage and Katana. All the characters from the first movie, they are very sideline. Almost where they are literally just being used to keep the tournament going. Because you have to have a certain amount of characters for these tournaments to play. So a lot of them get sidelined, they get shortchanged, they're not really in it that much, and the only characters you're focusing on are Johnny Cage and Katana. And you're watching their characters grow, and it's great. They do a great job. The funny moments hit. I was a big fan of them. But again, that's two characters out of, like, I think good 6 or 7 that you were focusing on if you saw the first movie, and the rest of them just get sidelined. I wasn't really a fan of that. I felt like that hurt the movie a lot. And it just, more so, it left me sitting there being like, okay, I got this as a game. I don't get this as a story. So that's kind of where I'm left with that. And here's my one last negative. And Super Mario Galaxy did this. And now Mortal Kombat 2 is doing this. I don't like it. But they're very much setting it up to where they're like, oh yeah, there's going to be a third movie. We gotta make a third movie. We gotta bring back everybody that dies, and that's gonna be in the next movie. They make it a little too clear, and I'm like, I get it. If your movie does really well, you want to fast track and do a sequel, finish up the trilogy, and that's cool and all. I'm all for it. I don't need to hear it in your movie though. Let it be a surprise. And they've already kind of explained what the third movie is going to be at the very end of this, and it's just kind of like, okay, I feel like I already know how that's going to happen, but I guess we'll see how it goes. So, overall, it was a solid movie. I'd wait for it to come out on streaming. I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't go rush into the theaters to go see it. It's a fine movie. I'll say it like it is. It's fine. It's not harmful. It's a good video game adaptation. Do I think it's like incredible and the greatest thing in the world? No. Do I think it's on the level of The Last of Us Season 1? Absolutely not. But I did have a decent time with it. I thought it was solid. So it's better than the first one. I will say that. Even the first one that came out, I was like, it's solid at best. This one, I'd put it a little bit higher than the other one. So, anyways, let me know what you think down below with this movie. I want to hear everybody's feedback. I feel like some opinions of mine are unpopular. Some have opinions that are just absolutely bizarre, and some people took their 6-year-old child to go see this for some reason and thought it was the greatest thing in the world. So let me know down below in the comments. Give a like, share, subscribe.